morning. Morning. How are y'all doing today? Everyone's at work. I take half days on Fridays. Not so I can do this, but just so I can enjoy Fridays. Easter weekend. Maybe there'll be some Easter eggs in the low ink stream on Sunday. Thank you, Hollower Moon. Bubble Bobble? I don't know the theme of that off the top of my head. That's on the NES NSO, ain't it? Falco, why is your name a much brighter blue than what it normally is? Spring Falco. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Popcast. Whenever you're listening to this, whether it be live or a VOD, Twitch or YouTube, or Spotify, while you are coming up with unique ways to ban weapons and specials from your tournaments, getting an early bird registration in for Riptide, using promo code Moonlight to get $20 off registration for Low Tide City. Whatever it is that you're doing right now, appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to this. Unless unless I don't. So, on the previous episode of the Popcast, I did a segment that I didn't think would get nearly as much attention as it did. Talking about weapon bans, special bans, basically the community getting control of this video game and eventually getting it to a point to where it can be played in a not so brain deadish kind of way. I have been pleasantly surprised by the how this conversation has skyrocketed since then. Obviously, there's been a lot of people discussing it on Twitter. ProChara held a roundtable with some other top-level players to discuss their thoughts on banning things from tournaments. Cactus and Stormy are going to be having a conversation in 2 hours on the Dapple Productions channel on Cactus's podcast. Probably won't catch that live, but I'll definitely be listening to that at some point. And you've had a couple of tournaments that have already tried weapon bans just to see how it works, or will be trying them in the future. Roundy and Soren had a good ideas only pop gun stupid rule. I suggested that name when they reached out to me about that. That did the bans that I suggested. No Kraken on Clan Blitz, no Blue Pencil, and only one Zuka. And what you got out of that tournament was essentially Red Pencil being used a lot in Zap so that you can still have Soda. And then, of course, you're going to have the Splatter Shot because, well, the Splatter Shot's good, and then that covers the one Zuka. So you got those three weapons, and then it's just whatever else you want to add into that. So unintended consequences. Again, when we talk about banning things, that doesn't mean you're going to have this a whole wide variety of different concepts going on here when it comes to what you see at comp-wise in tournaments. It's still going to come down to what is the best four-weapon combination that we can make work that's going to help us win these games. You don't get style points for winning games with unique comps. This isn't the Olympics. Yeah, you know, in most sports, hey, we scored more points than them. We're the winner. In a lot of Olympic sports, it's, I think that person did a backflip better than that other person did a backflip. So, you know, you don't get any points. Oh, they used Squiffer. 10 out of 10. No. Whoever wins, gets the most points in the game is the one that wins. That's all that matters. So, I think at the end of the day, the more you ban things, eventually we're going to settle on something else that's going to be just, well, that's still going to be annoying. It's still going to be a meta. But at the end of the day, where the meta is right now still is dog water. So could it be worse than this? Let's find out. That's the point I'm trying to get at. Is this? Let's just find out. Keo is hosting a tournament. I believe this is tomorrow. Um, some sort of glazing. I forget what the name of it is. The rule set for the tournament that Keo is hosting is one crab, one Zuka, one cooler, and you can't use e-liter, pencil, or charger, splat charger. You can use Squiffer and you can use GooTuber. That's it as far as the charger classes that you can use. E-liter and splat charger are off the table with this, and only one crab. Man, that is now just looking at that rule set, the mindset that I get with that is, oh, if I was a Splatling player, if I'm doing ballpoint, that looks pretty good for me. You just banned everything that I had trouble with. No chargers, only one Zuka. Hell yeah, I would. Hydra is god awful in this game. It's not like Hydra was any good in Splatoon 2, but you could make it work. There's just way too much that counters Hydra in Splatoon 3. And hey, it's not the bottom of the barrel in a tournament format like this. Maybe I should come out of retirement. No. Thought about it for a minute. No, that'd be a horrible idea. Unintended consequences, though. The more you ban things, the more things get a little bit bizarre right there. You can't force creativity. I think that's something people are starting to, or that's another point I want to make when it comes to banning things, is that you think, well, if we just ban things, then everybody's just going to become cherry limeade, and we're going to have like, this team has their identity of using this comp, and that team has this separate kind of quirky comp. Like, no, you can't force teams to be creative. It all comes down to what can you do to win. But still, things could always be better. And I'm just happy to see the conversation has started. I'll tell you right now, my hope personally, and I briefly shared this with other people with IPL yesterday, but my hope is eventually getting IPL onto a state to where we have a ban of some sort, where we are limiting weapons in some form or fashion. I want to start it off with Proving Grounds, but I think it's going to work out fine. I think the overall reception players have had to the concept of banning things has been overwhelmingly in favor of it. I don't think you're going to meet resistance here or there, and you might going to meet resistance as far as like what rules specifically you put in place. But I would say the vast majority of people are in favor of limiting some things out of the game, and I think the TOs should respond to that. So eventually I'm going to talk to Wolf and Toasty, see what they want to do with Proving Grounds, but I would love for us to get to a point to where Proving Grounds transitions into something the rest of IPL sees as a positive thing. They start to adopt, and then the rest of the community would see it and make a decision on their own if they want to adopt similar rule sets or not. Nothing's ever going to be universal. As I mentioned in the last episode of the podcast, and as K-Bot pointed out, you can't get Nintendo on board within these rule sets. Who gives a flying flip? what Nintendo's rule sets are? Yeah, I don't think anybody cares. I honestly don't. And if you don't live in Canada, Mexico, or the United States, you can't play in Nintendo's tournaments anyways. Europe had one, and well, there you go. Sorry, South America. Because Nintendo can adopt to our superior rules, we can't make a rule change for you, even though you guys can't play in any Nintendo tournaments ever. Unfortunate. Keep the conversation going, though. I love listening and hearing people's takes on these things, and maybe we can see some change in this community in the future as far as us taking control of what the meta could be as opposed to what it currently is with the, well, maybe they'll patch this out next time. No, they're not. They're going to buff Aerospray, I promise you. Maybe if they buff Aerospray enough, it'll become meta, though. Who knows? News of tournaments may be of interest to the casual listener of the Popcast. I forgot to mention this last episode, but Riptide registration has gone live. So if you're looking to get involved in Riptide in September, I highly suggest you go. If you're not going to Low Tide City, I would recommend going to this one. My wife and I will be at both. PJ will make an appearance at Riptide as well. I have no idea what PJ is going to be capable of 4, 5, 6 months from now. That is a lot of time in baby years, but it should be a fun time for all. So, I know like they give out early bird rates if you sign up early, but I've kind of noticed, especially with Low Tide City, a lot of people sign up as it gets closer, not so much like the day before, but you know, I. If you want to save some money, you 100% know you're going, I would go ahead and sign up now just to save some money. But that doesn't necessarily mean, oh, I missed them early bird, I can't really go and play in this one. So go to Lands. You will have fun. You will enjoy it. I promise you. If you don't, then somebody, well, I don't know. Sucks to suck, I guess. Also, Low Ink is this upcoming weekend, believe it or not. We got 6 more hours left or 5 hours and 50 minutes left of registration. So if you still got splash tag issues, you can get your splash tags fixed. If you want somebody added to your roster, you can add people to your roster. You can do anything you want for the next 5 hours and 50 minutes. When that time is up, you are 100% locked into your roster, and we're going to be getting on you guys if you try to cheat. So don't do that. Make sure you get that taken care of. If you're watching this on YouTube, registration might be closed at this point. But I actually like you. I like the YouTube audience much more than the Twitch chat. No surprises there. I think that's it as far as covering anything to go with Low Ink that's coming up right here. Today, we are going to be previewing Low Ink with the return of the top 10. I did not do a top 10 last month for reasons I'll get into in a minute, but I'm bringing it back. In fact, I'm going to tell you guys. Now, I've said this many a time here on the Popcast, and I've lied to you the vast majority of the time, but this is the one time I actually mean it. I'm going to tell you what team's going to win this tournament. In my top 10 includes the number 1 team who is 100% guaranteed to win this tournament. So if you want to not watch the tournament this weekend, if you want to go celebrate Easter, pray to whatever God you believe in, good news. I'll tell you right now, you can just skip the tournament for the entire weekend. All that and more. But first, as I mentioned before, I didn't do a preview last month. And I also didn't do a Low Ink recap episode last month as well. It was the perfect storm of things that came into the first time that I ever, in almost 4 years of doing this podcast, did not do a Low Ink preview or a Low Ink recap. I didn't do a preview because we were covering the Sindao Q season finals on IPL, and I want IPL to do more content-related stuff, so I threw out there, what if we did a pre-show? So we did a pre-show, and we did it at the same time around Low Ink. And I didn't want to do a Low Ink pre-show and do a preview here, or I didn't want to do a Sindao Q pre-show and a Low Ink preview on the same exact day, because that's way too much stuff, and I need to spend time with my family. So I didn't do a preview. I don't even think I put out a top 10 last month. I didn't do a Low Ink recap episode because as I was commentating the finals of Sindao Q on Saturday, my voice went out due to a pretty... I don't even know what I had. I had some sort of bug that completely took my voice away, and I could not speak for 2 days. So I couldn't even do a podcast on that following Monday because I literally could not speak anymore. My throat was just locked up. So that sucked. That really sucked. The podcast always used to be the focus. The focus of the podcast always used to be exclusively on low level stuff. We're on episode 222 right now, which means, Emil, we're about 28 episodes away from you coming back on again. But the focus of this used to be exclusively low-level stuff. So if you watched episodes like 1 through 50 or 80, don't. I didn't grow a beard then. Different overlays that I made by myself. It was an awkward time. So it's kind of a weird... I look back at some of those things and cringe, but people liked it back then. But I almost talked exclusively about low level stuff. I covered like Ash Cup, Little Squid League, Low Ink, and just do those 3 things over and over again. Launch Point was pretty popular back then. I just cover those tournaments over and over, month after month. And it's not, the more I did that, the more confident I became in myself as somebody who talks into this microphone thing, and the more I learned about the community to where I became more comfortable talking about things outside of just the low level, talking more about open topics in general that affected the entire community, talking more about major tournaments, talking more about top level. And now we just got this, it's not a low level competitive podcast anymore, it's just competitive Splatoon podcast. But the ones that always get the most attention are the Low Ink previews and the Low Ink recaps, and for good reason. Low Ink top 10s is a thing I started and has become a trend across all Low Inks. And everyone's got their predictions, and I don't know if it's fair or not that everybody's making predictions on who's going to win, because some teams do succumb to the pressure that they see, oh, everyone thinks we're going to win. Oh, no, that makes me nervous. But, I mean, at the end of the day, Low Ink has grown into being a monster that a lot of people care about these kinds of things, which is awesome to see. And Low Ink itself went from being about a 60, 70 team tournament to double that this month. And it's not even close to the 200 some odd teams we had months prior to this one. But back when I played in Low Ink, which this month marks the 4-year anniversary of Destiny Troops winning Low Ink. That is bizarre to me that was 4 years ago. It seems like yesterday, honestly. Although I still have the VOD of our entire tournament run that month, and I always look back at it and be like, man, I really sucked. like you ever watch old VOD of yourself playing the game and be like, why did I not just go there? Or why did I not like engage in that fight? Like, there's so many things you watch and be like, man, that player is not good. But then you realize that player is you. But 4 years gone by. In the first couple of years of playing in Low Ink, or after I won Low Ink and I went back and started to work for it, verification was pretty simple because I knew all the players at the time. You verify them, I don't have to look up anything about them. I played against that player multiple times. I know where their skill level's at. It's easy to kind of do that. But now, 4 years removed from playing at around this skill level, while I will admit the overall across-the-board skill level of Low Ink has improved just because the game is older and players are just naturally better at the video game than what they've been in the past. That should be how any game series goes over the course of time. I'm less connected to these players. I never played against Overtime. I never played against Howdy Hat Pirates. I don't know any of those players. None of them have ever had the unfortunate mispleasure of getting their asses absolutely beaten by my Hydra. So, a lot more verification from my end comes into a lot more heavy research I have to do on individual players, just to be like, who is this person? Like, what weapons do they use? They beat this team. Okay, does them beating that team actually mean anything? Because that team good? It means a lot, or it takes a lot for me to catch up into the player of today, which is why, as I'm doing less with Low Ink nowadays, I do want to take a moment to give a shout out to some staff members who've been doing a really good job of stepping up in the verification department, because they do know this generation of players. Mainly Toes, Lepus, Elemental and Kariki. Kariki, more so than others, has been taking a huge charge as far as verification is concerned. But you got all the others like Lepus, Elemental of Toes, and other members of our staff who've been popping in and out, who have a good grasp of people in this community and have good debates in the staff channels about certain teams. Whereas I just got to do things and look up and be like, oh, okay, so they beat that team. And they're like, no, I know these players, and I saw what they did in this one particular set. I think they should. I think they shouldn't. Like, they're that same kind of level of debate that we used to have before is now back in a different generation of staff that grew up playing with these kind of players that were growing that are going around with these things. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that, like, if you are not happy with verification, those are the 4 people you need to target, not me. No. Brush and myself sign off on everything. If someone gets banned, we make the final call. If there's a team that's borderline, we make the final call. So if you're upset about anything verification-wise, come after me. I'm a grown man, I'm 33, and I don't read your DMs anymore. I used to respond to DMs about eligibility and verification. I've learned better. For my own sanity, I just leave those things blank. I don't even respond to them anymore unless I reached out to you first. And oh my goodness, if you think that book I'm going to write someday, titled Hello Friends and Welcome Back, the untold stories of the DMs I've been getting over the course of Low Inc., that is going to be a deep book, because it is always a wild time being a part of that stuff. But still, shout outs to our verification staff, because they do an awesome job. We literally cannot do Low Inc. without them. And I'd probably just ban half of you, honestly, just to be like, let's just make this tournament a little bit smaller, easier. Point being, across the board, as I was very little helpish with things last month, and have been taking a step back in the main team-by-team verification, I'm doing a lot less work with Low Inc. than what I have done in the past. And the next generation of TOs are starting to step up and take that spot, which is great. Low Inc. is in good hands. It's got a bright future. Brush is obviously doing a fantastic job. I know we like to poke fun at Brush, but you never know. Maybe we should start treating Brush with some respect, like a normal human being. Maybe we should. That thought's starting to peek into my mind as well. But who cares? This tournament's not about staff. It's not about any of that stuff. Nobody cares about staff around here. This tournament has always been successful because of the players. The players are the ones that have been promoting this tournament. The players have been the ones that are spreading all the information, that are getting their friends to come in and play. It's always about the players. Without the players, we can't do anything. So allow me to glaze over several teams that I have listed down here before we get into the top 10. For any reasons that I feel necessary to glaze over them. Actually, no, I'm not. Some of these are just me being mean towards these teams. So we get in there. Get your love staff stuff out of the chat. First team we're going to be talking about, and we're going to be mean right off the bat. This is by far my least favorite team name in this tournament so far. Slopping Spree. I feel horrible just saying that. Obviously, a play off the term Shopping Spree, which was a good tournament, by the way, from about a year or so ago. But Slopping Spree, if there was an award for worst team name that we're actually going to allow, it's got to be that. There's already one team name I had to change because it was gross, and it's like, can you not be gross? Popcast changed our name. They don't like it. They don't want people to have fun. Yeah, that's true. Also, a shout out to the team called I Swear We Are Mid-Level. No, you're not. You're not mid-level. I hate to break it to you, but if you are eligible for Low Inc., you are not mid-level. First off, mid-level doesn't even exist There is no such thing as a mid-level. Mid-level is a social construct designed to distract you from the truth. There is no such thing as mid-level because it can't be defined as when you get into it, and it cannot be defined when you get out of mid-level. So if you want to tell people you swear that you're mid-level, all right, win low ink this month. Then you can say, I swear we're banned from low ink, which would be true. I do always love it when there is a common theme among team names, though. Splatoon teams have a huge fascination with space. But low ink has a lot of teams named after desserts or sweets or just anything delicious in general. Shout outs to these teams. Of course, kiwi ice cream gets mentioned in this category every time. I don't know what kiwi flavored ice cream would taste like, but it falls into the dessert category. Cherry sundae. A cherry sundae does sound pretty good right now. Blueberry slushy. Do people actually like slushies? Those things, I don't know. Maybe they're good on like a hot day. Slushies in general are just kind of gross in my opinion. I wouldn't count Kit Kats as a dessert, but it's definitely a sweet treat. It is a candy. And as far as I checked, the last time that I checked, we only have one team named after Kit Kats this time around, and no two Kit Kat teams. But if that does change and they end up playing against each other, we will put it on stream, guaranteed. I do want to clear up a misconception. I have used the term cosmic latte as a way to define a spacious kind of drink. We had, I believe, the captain of Cosmic Latte come onto the Low Ink pre-show that we hosted in our Discord server before the tournament starts when check-in opens on Saturday. And the captain of Cosmic Latte let us know that Cosmic Latte is actually the official name of the most common color in the universe, which is a brownish kind of color. So that's kind of sad that the most common color in all of known existence is the shade of poo, but Cosmic Latte, I guess, is a cool term to define it as. I don't know why I put that in the dessert category. I guess because latte makes me think of sweet stuff as well. Reese's Puffs is playing in this one. So we got Kit Kats, we got Reese's Puffs. How come we don't have a Snickers bar or a Twix? Why do we not have like the really good candy that's in there? I know Reese's is like one of the most popular candies, if not the most popular candy, but we need more Snickers. We need more Twix teams that are playing in this tournament here. Reese's Puffs, eat 'em up, beat 'em up, eat 'em up, beat 'em up, or drink 'em up, because of course everyone's fan favorite, drinking your milkshake, has signed up for this tournament yet again, rounding out our dessert flavored teams. You guys got to be careful. There's so many teams that have sugary names in their team name. You guys got to be careful now, all right? I just got a cavity filled, and in my back left, whatever, they call it like tooth number 13 or something like that. I don't know. But I keep getting this cavity refilled constantly because it just, whatever the filling just keeps coming back out. You guys got to be careful here. And as at the age I'm at, and I'm finding this out, and this is kind of weird for me. If I have like an ice cream, like I feel it for the rest of the day. And like 5 years ago, that wasn't the case. So I'm starting to get, as you get older, be careful with all these sweet treats that you're getting here, although they are tasty. But if you don't want any dessert, how about I might offer you this team name, Omega Muffins. I'm a big fan of muffins. My wife loves chocolate chip muffins. I'm more of a blueberry muffin kind of guy. Cut it open in the middle, put a little slab of butter in there, you're good to go. Strawberry muffins are pretty good as well. But Omega Muffins, I don't know about that. The next team name we're going to be talking about is Snowfall. Now, if you are an old head and you were here around 2022, I want to say, you would recognize the name Snowfall because they were one of the contenders to consistently win Low Ink. I don't think they ever did, but they were one of those teams that was always knocking on the door. They were all over the place in the top 10 in the early days of Low Ink. This is not Snowfall. This is a different team that has the exact same name. And we've reached a point, not just now, but for a while now, where we've had several teams use the same name of another team, but that team has been gone for so long that nobody really recognizes it. Nightmare, Nightshade, those things have been used over and over again. But even things you wouldn't know have been used before. You remember Octopi? Octo with the symbol pi at the end? We found another team that played in a very old Nintendo Open tournament that had that same exact name with the same exact symbol at the end. So there are two different Octopi teams to have existed. So even that wasn't original. It's just the world we live in. Nobody's going to take over this team name, though. But Zest Fest coming back and playing in this low ink. The former LSL champions. I know they've made top 32 before. I want to say they've made a alpha bracket, but I would love to see Zestfest get back into alpha bracket. There's a lot of people there contending for that top 16 spot. But Zestfest is a team we'll be keeping an eye on, particularly this month, because it's getting about that time where they need to start being consistent contenders. They got the capability to do so. Now, if you paid attention to the announcement channel yesterday, I made a little post trying to remind people of registration ending and get your splash tags in. Usually we do song lyrics that we like to change, or maybe I'll come up with a little story that I want to tell you. This time around, I thought, what if I just take some team names and incorporate it into the announcement? That way those teams will get excited. They'll share the announcement on Twitter, and all of a sudden, you guys yet again are going to promote the announcement to everyone, and then more people will realize, oh, wait, I got to go fix my splash tag real quick. It worked out perfectly. It worked out so good that teams that weren't mentioned in the announcement went on Twitter or somewhere else and posted something saying, we should have been on there. Well, Popgun doesn't like us because we're not getting any recognition in the announcement here. I should offer an apology to Caution, though, because as they pointed out, Caution could have been a really easy way to work into pretty much anything that I posted yesterday. And I didn't use the team Caution. So my apologies to you guys. I'll rig your Swiss group to make sure you find a way in the top 32 to make up for it. How about that? I don't remember a rough port typo. I don't know what you're talking about. Pale beige? I don't know what that color looks like. Slopping Spree is the name of the song in the game? Ugh. This game sucks. Falco, can we get a copy of Foam Stars? Can we switch over to that? I think we're ready for Foam Stars glowing. Squid EST. Now, love Squid EST. They've been consistently signing up for Lowing. They've been here for a while now. The problem with Squid EST is that they have to change their name during this time of the year. And especially with the time change coming up in Europe on Sunday, which is confusing the hell out of everybody. When does Lowing start on Sunday? Well, on Saturday it starts at this time because we changed our time before you guys did. But on Sunday you guys are going to catch up. So there's always confusion around this March Lowing. But Squid EST, it's time. You got to change your name to Squid EDT. It is Squid Eastern Daylight Time now. So get rid of that question mark at the end of it now as well. You know what time zone that you're in here. Let's get it right, Squid EST. It should be Squid EDT now. Seasick. Love Seasick. Because Seasick is one of those teams that was at the bottom of the barrel for the first several months that they played in Low Ink. Last month, Seasick finished 4-2. Not sure if that was good enough to make top 32 or not. But it's good to see Seasick be one of those teams start at the bottom and work their way up into being contenders. Would love to see them in top 32 this time around. Another one of the many, many, many success stories that you see from teams that stick it out, get a little bit better over the course of time, and eventually rise up to being a solid team in Lowing. So I'm happy for Seasick. I wanted to mention that. A team I'm not happy for is Wet Laundry. Not because I don't think they're good at the video game. They are. I believe they went 4-2 last month as well. But Wet Laundry just sucks. I found out there's this thing now where you can get a washer dryer combo, like just one machine that will wash your clothes and then dry them. And if that becomes the case, a team like Wet Laundry would become extinct because you're not going to have Wet Laundry for very long. It'd be kind of pointless to name themselves that. So, Wet Laundry, your days are numbered. You're going to get dried up at some point. So, hang on for that. Arrows of Fire. What? Okay, cool for Arrows of Fire. These guys are top 32 contenders every time that they sign up for Low Ink now. Wasn't the case before, but they've grown over the course of time. What happened to Arrows of Lightning and was it the Arrows of Water? I don't think there was an Arrows of Ice team. There was also an Arrowhead team. There was a whole Arrow army of teams that used to sign up. And now it's just Arrows of Fire being the last one standing. Did they all just have like a battle royale? Did Fire just beat Lightning and Water and Arrowheads? Like, is that just what happened here? Because Arrows of Fire seems to be the last team standing. And they seem to be the best team standing out of that group as well. The Fire Nation attacked. Well, the only person that can stop them then is like the 30 other teams that I got ranked above them here in this Low Ink. All those teams are recruiting. So we will see a return to the Arrows of Lightning and Water. That is guaranteed, according to Ketone and Chet. The Lost Inklings. These guys made Alpha Bracket last month. They won Lantern Bracket in the most recent SOS. Deserves an honorable mention spot in the top 10 if I actually made an honorable mention, which I didn't this time around. We're always waiting for that breakout month, though, from Lost Inklings. I talk about how they are literally one of the oldest teams of all time. I believe they're tied with Day Old Sushi for most Ludi seasons played out of any teams ever. Lost Inklings, I believe, is going to be at Low Tide City as well. I know they've gone to a couple lands, but we're waiting for Lost Inklings to step up and say, I am a forever top 10 team. Probably could have made the case last month, but I got too many teams ahead of them this time around. Elegant Ruby. Speaking of the Arrow teams, you got Elegant Ruby in this tournament, and a team I'm going to be talking about later, spoiler alert, Elegant Diamond. These two teams have to be related to each other, right? Those names are too similar to where if they're not a part of the same clan or they didn't spawn or they're not like at least friends with each other to where something's wrong with that. So Elegant Ruby, not in the top 10. But has to be a team that we're kind of, has to be related to Elegant Diamond in some way. We are Lost Inklings. Full roster is going to be at Low Tide City, coming in from Canada. Hey, make sure to hang out at the fire pit. And hey, if you guys win Low Ink, we'll get you Brush and I will get you some band, not the sticker because I'm out of these stickers, but we'll get you a band certificate, Lost Inklings. So get that done. Win the tournament and we'll get you one. If not, we'll still like to hang out with you. I like to hang out with everybody there. The next team, honestly, should be in the top 10. Should be the number one team. I'm not putting them there because their experience isn't anywhere close to where it should be to be in a top 10 team. But their name alone is the most dangerous team name in this tournament. I'm not even joking. The name of this team is Coughing Baby. And you guys always make the joke, oh, who would win, a nuclear bomb or a coughing baby? I have had a coughing baby in this house for the past how old is he now, 8 months? Oh my gosh. Coughing babies are dangerous as all get out. The only reason I missed a Low Ink recap episode of the Popcast in almost 4 years is due to a coughing baby, okay? Those things are dangerous. Love the hell out of them. But my wife and I are literally dying because our son is coughing all over us every single day. He's fine, though. He's fine. We take him to the doctor. He's all good. He's just, and he's he'll cough at you and then smile right at you right afterwards. And you're just like, oh, what disease did you give me now? Oh, boy. Coughing babies are no joke, man. Big Tommy and the Splats are back. And yes, Big Tommy and the Splats is an inside joke in the Low Ink staff. When you have a name that is so bad and we have to change it for you, we changed it to Little Timmy and the Splats. Well, 1 month we had to change multiple teams. So we went with Big Tommy and the Splats for the second team. This team liked it so much that they've kept that name. We gave them the name Big Tommy and the Splats as a punishment, and they kept it, and now they keep using it month after month after month. Eventually, they will win this tournament, at which point we'll have to retire the name Big Tommy and the Splats, and that's just one less name we have to use to punish you guys for being stupid. So I don't know if they're mocking us or they just really like Big Tommy and the Splats, but here we go. They're actually pretty decent, though. I believe they went 4-2 last time that they played, but no, not medium. The next name we're going to use is Mid Tammy in the Splats is what we're going with there. Tommy, Timmy, Tammy is what we're going to go with. Truck in car. Not a truck and a car, but a truck in a car. Back in my day, a truck in a car was just called an El Camino. The front looked like a car. The back looks like a truck. Not doing the rest of that one. But they should change their team name as well to just El Camino, because that's what a truck in a car actually is. October Rift is a team that has recently made a hype video for their resurgence that was supposed to come out about 6 or 7 months ago before the October Low Ink, because in the August Low Ink of last year, they played really well, and I said that they were going to win the October one because their team name is October Rift. If you've been paying attention to Planet Earth, we are currently in the month of March, so it's about 7 months away from October Rift even coming close to winning Low Ink. Still a lot of time, but they're here. If they win this month, they got to rename themselves to March Rift, but don't think that's going to happen this time around. The Peace Strikers are returning to this month. Now, me missing out on last month's Low Ink, I didn't even watch the stream last month. Like, I know who won, and I went back and looked through the brackets. Peace Strikers one of the teams that stick out because they made Alpha Bracket, but they did not win a game in top 16. So Peace Strikers could be a team that I will eventually start talking about a lot here on the Popcast when it comes to Low Ink things are concerned. But they made Alpha last month. If they can make another return trip this month, then they become a consistent Alpha team, and then they become a consistent contender. So we'll be keeping an eye out for them. Crowns. Hate that team name. It's so hard to pronounce. If I commentate them, they're just going to be known as the Clowns. I remember them from Little Squid League, but they made a decent run in Beta Bracket last month. So now Crowns might be a team we might end up commentating deep onto Sunday at the rate that they're playing right there. Yippee. The next to last team that I want to talk about here is a team that I got a little bit confused about the last time I talked about them. The Manta Boat Fan Club. I initially thought they were just talking about the map in general. Manta. There's like the boat in the Manta. Their fan club of that. Turns out no. And I forget where I learned this, whether they were in a pre-show or they added me on Twitter or something. But the boat that they're actually a fan of is, if you look off to the side of the map, I believe out in the water, if you go on Manta Maria, there is a boat out there. I think one of the sides is the ocean and the other side of the map is like the little dock area or like a little city to the side. But there is a boat somewhere, and that is what they are a fan of. They're a fan of that boat that's off to the side of the map out of play. So don't get these guys confused. They're not fans of Manta Maria. They just like a object you can't interact with in the game. They're big fans of it. I'm sure they have weekly meetings talking about whatever it is that boat ends up looking like here. Last and certainly not least is the team called Jams Cats. We also like Queen Jellybean Band or something like that. This is a team that's probably going to be in several people's top 10 lists. it probably would have been in mine if not for the fact that we gutted their roster. They had 8 players and we banned 3 of them today. And they already announced this on Twitter. I'm not like breaking any news or anything. So with 3 of their players banned, I don't know how good they're actually going to be. So I'm just going to put them as like a honorable mention team at this point. They could probably win this tournament. No idea. The hell was that? So yeah, Jams Cast. Now, I believe we banned several members of Queen Jelly last month, and they ended up winning the whole tournament. So maybe that's not a, maybe that doesn't really matter for anything. Maybe it's just, oh, good, that's the dead weight we were hoping you would get rid of, so we can actually win this tournament. But Jams Cat's not in the top 10, but I wanted to give them a little bit of shout out anyways. I don't know. I wasn't around last month. Now, the most important thing of the entire weekend is I start to pull it up here. And normally I have this typed out and printed out, but the printer wasn't working today. So I'm going to be looking at this monitor you guys can't see. And if it seems like I'm reading off a monitor, it's because I am. But we're going to go with the official top 10 teams who are going to have the best opportunity to win Low Ink this year, with my number 1 team guaranteed to absolutely do it. Number 10. Y'all probably forgot about Forgotten, didn't you? Who? Yes, a team that has been in my top 10 before just got their player Zach back approved from the exemption request channel, opening the door up for this team to return to their contender form after taking a month or so off from the tournament. How good are they going to actually do? I honestly have absolutely no idea, but just trust me on this one. Forgotten will be a top 10 team this month. When have I ever lied to you guys before when I said trust me? Look for Forgotten to make Alpha Bracket and make a pretty good run at it as well. Number 9. Yeehaw! The Howdy Hat Pirates are raring and ready to go. These swashbuckling cowpokes have the experience and skill level necessary to be a team this in the top 10 list and are coming off a top 8 finish in Low Ink last month, being eliminated by Omnis 3-1. So if you cross swords or lassos with this team, then you better watch out, partner, because the Howdy Hat Pirates are looking for treasure this month, and they just might find it. My apologies for not having a cowboy hat and an eye patch to properly represent the Howdy Hat Pirates there. Number 8. Royal Banquet. Number 7. We got an official release date for Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. It's going to be coming out in May. I believe May 23rd. But you can experience the glory that is the hub world in that game as you play Rogueport Rascals in Low Ink this upcoming weekend. No, not Roughport, not Rougeport, Rogueport Rascals. Rogueport in Paper Mario: A Thousand-Year Door is a rough and tough town full of mobsters, thugs, and folks who are just genuinely unfriendly towards Mario. A far cry from Toad Town in the first Paper Mario game on the Nintendo 64. And you should expect that same kind of grit from the Rogueport Rascals. They've dominated Swiss in the past and are set up to have a strong tournament this time around. Look for them to make a good run in Alpha Bracket this month. Number 6. Pookie Nation falls into this spot on the top 10 list. A pickup with a good assortment of players with various results, including Jelly, who went 6-0 in Swiss last month. Not Queen Jelly, just Jelly. Other than that, I'm not exactly sure what Pokey means to the new generation. Real talk, I call my wife Pookie as like a pet name, and Garfield's teddy bear is actually called Pookie. I'm hoping you guys did not take this cute and innocent term and turn it into something dumb and gross and weird. But for now, Pookie Nation remains a safe word, I'm assuming, for everybody to use. And yes, I said the word Pookie. It's not a shocking thing to get me to say that word. I'm not afraid to say that word. It's been around long before any of us have been born. Pookie, Pookie, Pookie. Don't care. But Pookie Nation's number 16. Number 5. Elegant Diamond is a name that's too pretty for a brutal tournament like Low Inc. But their previous performance would suggest they're just as rough and tough as any team that's here. They finished second place in beta last month after going 5-1 in Swiss and added a new player to the roster in Tyrex. This is getting to be one of those older Low Inc teams as well that I've mentioned several times here on the Popcast. So that means they've got a lot of experience and talent playing their way through this tournament. So we'll see how elegant they truly are this month, as I believe they are a top 5 team. Number 4. Solo Q is going to be pretty upset this weekend if they actually win Low Inc. and will have to follow the tradition of Low Inc. winners, which is disband and go back to playing actual Solo Q. But don't count out this team just because they were in beta bracket last month, because they walloped their way through beta bracket, winning by only dropping 4 games the entire time. They've always been a strong Swiss stage team and pretty much a lock to make top 32 every time they sign up. Just clean up whatever issues they had at the beginning of Sunday last month in the top 32 stage, and they're going to be set to dominate alpha bracket yet again. Number 3. We have had combo teams in the past, kind of like a KFC Taco Bell combo that is popular in the southern parts of the states. So let's try this name out. Cephaloblake Spravectia. And no, I did not just sneeze. I actually read out my best attempt at pronouncing a team name that is in the top 3 of my top 10. This team is a hybrid of a few teams, mainly Cephalopod Helvectia and Blake Sprutter. Both teams made Alpha Bracket last month, with Blake taking home the bronze medal over all of Alpha Bracket. Now, combo teams have been a thing in Low Inc. before, with 2 famous examples. First off, you got the Inked Killers in August of 2022, a combo of Inked and Squid Killers, which won that tournament. And Shiver Me Feeders, a combo of Shiver Me Inklings, who I always called the Pirates back in the day, and literally feeding the team that won Low Inc. in February of 2022, literally over 2 years ago. It's awkward if you win as a combo team, though, because it's just the players on your Low Inc. roster that get banned. So half your team ends up getting banned because they won Low Inc., while the rest of your original teammates are all just kind of stuck in this awkward, well, do we join a different team, or like what do we do here? Are we just going to ban ourselves from Low Inc.? It's a very good chance of this happening, though, because those 2 teams in particular did really well last month. We'll see what they can accomplish here this time around. Number 2. VR Cat used to be known as VRC, where they competed in Low Inc. last month and finished in 4th place after going 6-0 during their Swiss round. They have followed that up by winning Mako Bracket in the most recent SOS. Now, I wasn't around last month, so I didn't get to see this team in action firsthand. But if you're just going off of their results by themselves, this is one of the best teams standing, in my opinion, especially based off the teams that are left from last month. I'm more of a fan of actual IRL cats than virtual ones. But in this context, virtual cats is good enough to win this month's Low Ink and get a bright, shiny gold medal for their fake cats that they love so much. And they would win this tournament if it wasn't for the team I got at number 1. Yes, I am seeing the tweets that people are putting out. Now that it's been confirmed that Ominous has been banned from Low Ink, Loxier remains the number 1 favorite among several teams, or several people that are predicting winners for this Low Ink. We found, our verification staff, did you know they got an overfisher on their team? My team's had an overfisher for several years, Clang. And let me tell you, just because you're a competitive Splatoon player doesn't mean that you can be good at Salmon Run. It's a completely different skill set to be good at both. And boy howdy, Loxier is really good at competitive Splatoon. They've won 3 out of the 4 all-for-ones, follow the math there, that they played in, which is the only real tournament results we could find for them as far as Low Ink eligibility is concerned. However, the one all-for-one they didn't win, they lost to the team that got at number 2, VR Cats. Traditionally, though, other low-level tournaments, especially one-day events, Minnow Cup, Ash Cup, haven't really meant a whole lot as far as Low Ink is concerned. It's not a 1-1 correlation. Well, you win that tournament, that means you're automatically going to win Low Ink. It's a different beast. It's a 2-day tournament, and it is an absolute grind to get through. And everyone thinks they're going to win now. There is a mountain of people that think this is an easy tournament for Loxier to just run right through and get the gold medal in and escape into the night. Well, I'm buying to the hype. The problem now is I'm giving them the kiss of death by putting them at number 1. I've only correctly guessed winners of Low Ink 4 times in the almost 4 years I've been doing this. So that's been working against them. Can they handle the pressure? Well, the fact that they've won multiple other tournaments in the past would suggest that they can handle it. But this is a different kind of magnifying glass they're going to be under over the course of this weekend. Can they rise up to the challenge? We shall see. And that is my top 10 teams for this month. Not every one of you is on that list. Out of the 160 some odd teams that are signed up, only 10 made it. And that means the team that is going to win this tournament is the team I didn't talk about at all today. So if you're upset, you think I underseeded you, you think I don't believe in you, I never thought you would be anything. Good news is you get to prove me wrong in just 2 days. I always start off my Monday episodes of the Popcast, recapping Low Ink, offering apologies when needed. So if you'd like to be a part of the Popcast in any way, feel free to reach out to my socials, Twitter at Mr_Popgun, Discord at Popgun, YouTube 25 Popgun, Twitch at Popgun 25. You still got time to sign up for Low Ink if that is your fancy. Make sure to participate in the other events as well that's going on this weekend. I will be at the start of Low Ink tomorrow. I won't be TOing it because I got a tournament I got to win full of a bunch of people my own age. So I'm going to be taking care of that. So corn. Thank you for the raid, CCA. We're sending you right away, though. Good luck this weekend. Get your rosters set up and your affairs in order. Crableg says, Popgun's wrong. My Low Ink prediction, Google Doc is way better. No, you. Hi, CCA.